Welcome to the audio version of my blog, Deeper Dimensions. I'm happy you're here. In this blog, I peer into the deeper dimensions of existence to unearth practical ideas for bringing meaning to everyday moments and to crises. I offer these discoveries to you to invite you to explore your own depths so that you can discover your call, your will, your impulsive nature. I'd love to let you know about the latest posts in Deeper Dimensions, and if you'd like to receive the latest updates, you can subscribe at deeperdimensions.com. So, whether you're looking for words to inspire, console, challenge, or teach, sit back and make yourself at home. Welcome to this week's post. I trust our capacity to be shattered. Breaking open to racism. This post opens with a quote from Stephanie Erickson, the author of Companion Through the Darkness, the best book about grief I've ever read. We cannot walk out of the darkness unless we are first willing to immerse ourselves fully in it. It demands a leap of faith, for there are no signposts along the way that will guarantee our safe return. There is only a dark tunnel leading to who knows where. We know the danger. We feel it in our adrenaline, pumping through our bodies at frightening speed. We know intuitively that we may never come out of the blackness, but there is no choice, for to be fully alive, we must die with our losses. This is a moment in time when we succumb to death, so that we may live. I trust our human capacity to be shattered. When I lost my husband randomly and suddenly, my entire world broke open. Nothing made sense, and my inner world was in a shambles. With help, I was able to utterly reorganize my inner world. In the process of that complete shattering and rebuilding, I had to endure and bear intense existential emotions: despair, helplessness, lack of control, mortality, loneliness, anguish, all in the context of a culture and age group that did not want to know anything about my experience and, in fact, encouraged me to skip over it or hide it from view. By having helped to sustain a thorough breaking open and rebuilding, I dropped into connection with the deep river of human suffering and love that unites us all. I came out on the other side of that experience both softened and galvanized. Surviving the white-hot center of human suffering made me fiercely compassionate and able to resonate with and sit with the most intense emotions and suffering of others. Able to imagine my way into others' suffering in a way I never could have pre-shattering. I emerged intent on both companioning the suffering of others by being a therapist and on ensuring that other therapists have the training to do this kind of dark and honest work as well, especially once I saw the shallow, pathologizing, cure-based nature of many therapy perspectives. Because of my passion for both sitting with and training people to sit with suffering, I've spent 28 years reading and studying about emotions and relationships so that I can access multiple ways of helping people open to this kind of dissolution and healing. Part of that study has been learning about how ourselves are organized via attachment relationships, inborn wiring, life experiences, and so on, and about how growth happens by loosening that self-organization so that it can incorporate new information and become reorganized at a higher level of compassion and integration. Self-disorganization is always uncomfortable because it involves disrupting the familiar organization that gives us a sense of security. Traumatic life experience, such as my loss, provides a fucking opportunity for massive self-reorganization because traumatic experience shatters self-organization. If we have help to bear the suffering of a full dissolution, we can grow into more open, compassionate, outspoken for good people through radical self-reorganization. Even though some of us don't make it, life can indeed traumatize us enough that we're thoroughly broken and unable to fully heal. Nevertheless, even people in that situation respond to being loved and valued by people who can bear to sit with even their unhealed suffering. I am not claiming to be perfectly self-organized or fully grown. There will always be more self-shatterings because we all have infinite blind spots, along with an infinite potential for growth by facing what we don't know or don't want to know. Yet our culture supports neither the value of shattering nor the help needed for healing and truly reorganizing ourselves. So after a shattering, the tendency is to try to remain small, reassemble the old self-organization, and look away from the pain that's required to self-organize. All of my work is about countering that reflex to look away in order to help people learn the ultimate freedom that arises from bearing the pain of growth and healing. I see this moment of worldwide protests where we are forced to see the wrongs, injustices, inequities, and sufferings that we've piled onto people of color in our community as a fucking opportunity for privileged people to be shattered. I want to be a voice that calls those of us who have the inner strength and social support to bear being cracked wide open to do so. Permanently. By this fucking opportunity to look head on at what we have continued to look away from as a society and as individual people. Together, to moan and cry and feel discomfort and remorse. I want us to feel the despair, the helplessness, the rage, the lack of control, the anguish that people of color have been bearing at our hands in our society forever. I want the experience of those emotions to shatter our self-organization of comfort within our privileged lives and force us to go down and through the dissolution of self that will lead to true collective remorse and true reaching for repairs. Not just this month, but ongoing. True self-reorganization is searing, but it lasts. I am not saying that the shattering I experienced after my husband died is comparable to the suffering racism causes in people of color. In fact, it was also because of privilege that I had the means to have the help I needed to go down and through my time of brokenness and a safe place to land when I came out on the other side. Nevertheless, I did learn something there that I can bring to the healing of other dark forces in our world. I was humbled, brought to my knees, invited to recognize when I need to shatter once again to deepen and widen my compassion, which is now. I also don't want to denigrate my life. I value and am grateful for my life and what I have and what I've done and where it's led me. And I want to hold that value and gratitude side by side with the anguish and remorse I feel because I have all this while others are not only without, but are also persecuted. Holding these disparate emotions side by side creates a necessary dissonance within my being that I want to cultivate, so that I both claim the goodness of what I have and feel uncomfortable as long as there are others who do not have what they need, so that I will never forget to take daily action of some sort, within or without, to do my part to shift society toward equity, justice, fairness, and valuing of all people. I am not a woman of color, yet I am honored to listen to, learn about, and bear the suffering of people of color who come to me as clients, without presuming to think that I know their experience. I've done a good job with that and will continue to strive for that when clients of color come to me, and continue to open to what I don't know that I don't know. The larger contribution I feel called to make is to show privileged people, therapists, clients, and readers the value of facing their painful and dark emotions of all kinds, and to walk with them through those feelings so that they can acquire the capacity to be shattered by the pain of racism without looking away from it, so that they can radically reorganize their inner selves with remorse and not shame in order to work toward repairs in their own unique ways, large and small. I welcome you to share your shattering with me, and I welcome people of color to tell me where I'm missing the boat. As always, thanks for listening, and if you'd like to subscribe, go to deeperdimensions.com. See you next week.